we were just talking about the history of bestiality, I guess. I don't know, of different cultures being accused of sheep shagging.
The history of bestiality, sir. Don't bring our names into the muck.
David was saying that he likes to partake in bestiality. I was saying, he said, who doesn't fuck goats at this point? I'm like, all right there, David, that's interesting. So basically, what I was going to say is that the rumor around Welsh people, I believe, having sex with sheep started when Welsh people would steal sheep. And I think the law in the books for stealing sheep, the punishment was death. But for bestiality, the punishment was a lot less severe. I think it was like a fine or something like that. So whenever they got caught stealing a sheep, they'd be like, oh, I was just going to fuck it, to avoid the death penalty. So, yeah.
That's cool.
Wow. You really waited to the podcast to tell that wonderful story. But shout out to the Welsh people. My point was,
shout out to the Welsh people.
Who's
Welsh in the UFC?
Classic David. No selling my hilarious jokes and then saying shout out to so and so. That might be the most David thing that ever happened in the existence of.
Hilarious. Shout out to
hilarious. Shout out to Israel Adesanya, man.
Wait a second. Could you imagine though? You get caught stealing a sheep and you're like, I was just gonna have my way with it.
Oh, this old thing over here. You thought I was gonna steal it? That's where you're wrong, Bucko. Sex is my game.
Right? Steal.
You think I'm a thief?
No, I'm a person who engages in bestiality.
I'm a respectable sheep shagger. And resent the accusation that I'm a thief, frankly. Anyways, guys, we are the Leg Kick Podcast.
Wow, that's
more disappointing than a gas station coffee. More useless than a professional wrestling referee. More diluted than half of Michael Asiffo's takes. And we're here to bring you some of the best content in combat sports. We are your hosts. David Agabruto, resident.
They know David was Italian all of a sudden.
Yeah. Resident representative from Nigeria. They sent him here just to talk up Kamaru Usman and Nchukwi, who's on this card as well.
Forgot about Israel Adesanya, but okay.
What's that?
Forgot about Israel Adesanya, but okay.
I said Israel Adesanya ended Nchukwi. Michael.
No, you didn't. You said
take
Kamaru
the jollof
Usman.
rice out of your ears, young man.
You said Kamaru Usman.
Oh. Well, same thing. All Nigerians look alike.
That's racist.
Anyways, yes. Anyways, over here we have a man dressed like a mid-2000s soccer goalie. Nobody knows why his room is so messy.
Accurate.
Nope. Nobody knows why his takes are so off. It's Michael.
I'm always right.
He looks like a Little League hockey goalie.
Mike, you look like somebody's dad who's, wearing the old men's league shirt to clean out the garage.
Because I was cleaning.
Gonna do some work around the house there, Pops?
I was. I did some work at my day job because surprise, I don't really go on YouTube all day. I'm not some cyborg on your screen. And then has there been a big trend of cyborgs taking over the YouTube platform, creating content for the masses? Is that a thing? I believe so.
Well, I wish Justine Santos well, and I hope her YouTube career is going as well as her Bellator career.
Hey.
And then here we have, I was just introducing, we have our third host of the podcast, Jeremy Jollof, a man whose hand signals appear to be directly out of Naruto. I don't know what chakra he's using right now or what jutsu he's about to use, but it's okay.
Jeremy, your lighting is exquisite.
My what?
Your lighting?
Yeah, it's angelic. He looks like, you remember that old show Touched by an Angel?
Oh yeah.
He looks like the moment they reveal themselves to be angels on that show. He just looks so angelic. You look like a cherub right now, Jeremy, and I mean that in the best possible way.
You're glistening.
Yeah.
What can I say? I was blessed with devilishly handsome good looks. I don't know.
And now he's blessing us with his presence here on the leg.
Hey, this is called the Jollof Jutsu. You should know. It's in my name.
1,000 years of food.
1,000 years of food.
So for the 3 people in our audience that got that, congratulations, you are weebs. So we've got a card that is better than any card I can remember in a long time, and fingers crossed we're the night before and no fights have fallen through. But before that, gentle reminder, if you're not already, subscribe to the podcast, like us, smash, sexually assault that like button, and follow us wherever you can find podcasts, be it YouTube, Spotify.
Are we gonna get canceled because Stefano said sexually assault the button?
Like button? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Can I get canceled for simply saying sexually assault the podcast? Now, I mean the like button. Now the like button can come back and me too you, but you can't get canceled for simply saying sexually assault.
Hold on, Jeremy, because the like button is an extension of our channel, which means us. So can we get canceled for asking someone to sexually assault us? That seems like it's fair game. Like, don't kink shame, Ask the good people out there who are going to cancel us if they want to kink shame us, because, maybe that's our thing.
David's had enough. Like, look at David.
I'm just like, what are you guys talking about? I swear we got fights and have to be out of here by 7. But
David's like, hilarious. Can we talk about fighting? Anyways,
no,
shouts out to 1FC.
Before the pod, everyone was like, oh, I got to be here by blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, we got time for sexual assault jokes. I get it.
Anyways, before anything else, let's address the 1FC card that happened today. Just kidding. Nobody cares about 1FC.
No, we can address it. Agbaire got knocked out in the main event. Yes.
Who did? Who got knocked out?
Agbaire. Amir Ali Agbaire. He's like some world champion wrestler, and man, it was crazy. They were literally hyping the next fight, before the fight. They were like, oh, because there was this Russian dude who fought in the co-main, Anatoly Malikin, I think his name is. Just ragdolled this other dude, and essentially, during his call out, he's like, "Man, I want to fight like a real contender in this division. I want to fight Ali Agbaire so I can fight for the championship and blah blah blah." Anyway, Ali Agbaire comes in, walks this dude down. It looks like it's gonna go one way because he's clearly the more dominant fighter, and this Korean dude whose name is Mighty Warrior or something like that just clocks him and sits him down with literally one punch. I'm pretty sure if you watch the entire fight, that was his only punch, completely ends the narrative. It was beautiful. And the commentators were like, this is why you never doubt that. It was great. I love Anderson, man.
Well, perfect. David, thank you for letting us know what happened in, what's his name? I can't even remember his name. God damn it.
Sorry, come on. You got it.
It's coming in Chaudhry Sit Yodong's pyramid scheme. Thank you for updating us on Chaudhry Sit Yodong's pyramid scheme.
Why are you so negative towards one championship?
Because they're hilarious. They're hilarious.
These views are entirely the views of Stefano Hosko. I, for one, love 1FC. I think it's refreshing. One thing
Chaudhry, if you ever want to sign me to 1FC, I will flip my opinion overnight, baby. Come on, let's do it.
The views of Stefano Hosko are not the views of the Leg Kick Podcast.
If you want to sign me, I'll shill for you so hard. I'll talk about how Angela Lee inspired me to become a doctor and everything. I felt different in society, so watching Shin Aoki choke out Sage Northcutt made me realize that I could be a real boy, not a puppet. Anyways,
wait a second. Hold on a second. Did they fight already?
No, that's coming up at some point, I think.
All right.
I'm just making assumptions based on the most likely outcome. Yeah. Anyways, we have some rather interesting and sensuous fight announcements to go over. First one, in a fight that I'm guessing will be the last fight in at least one of these competitors' careers in the UFC. We have Matt Brown taking on Diego Lima. An appropriate fight to make, I think, at this point in both of their careers. Diego Lima lost his last fight to Bilal Muhammad. Never really got going in that fight. Landed some good calf kicks, but more or less was just overwhelmed. And Matt Brown, notorious for bringing much different shot selection, but a very pressure-oriented attack. And let's see if he can stifle the game of Diego Lima, if Diego Lima's chin holds up, and who ends up getting cut, unfortunately, in this matchup, because I do like both of these guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same. Would you, and you're probably going to get to it later, but would you think like this is related to basically the UFC sunsetting a lot of fighters, especially a lot of their older fighters? They're kind of like, okay, guys, here's one last show at the rodeo, and then
and
town.
We'll get into that because there was this week a couple of very big announcements as far as retirements and kind of the end of an era in a way that I like to talk about. But here's a fight that slipped under the radar. And I suspect that it's going to be the first time that a lot of you guys are hearing about it on air as well. Did you guys hear about Shane Burgos versus Edson Barbosa?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I didn't think you heard about that.
I like that, though.
I like
that. That sounds fun.
Fight. That's a fun fight.
Now, I think this is a fight that could bring out a lot of Barbosa's better attributes, because Burgos tends to be a bit of a counter boxer, if I'm not mistaken. If Barbosa can let his kicks fly and Burgos permits him to give him that range, then, man, it's a short night for anyone in the world.
Is Shane Burgos a veteran, or is he a newcomer?
I'd say somewhere in between.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a few fights, and he's had a pretty decent championship run, if I'm not mistaken, but he's still pretty young.
He's like a top 15, a solid top 15 contender. Maybe top 10 at this point. He's working.
So he's ranked in the top 15?
Yeah, he's a solid
What division?
145.
45.
And Jeremy, he's fought some established names, like he's fought Calvin Kattar.
I'm just looking at his record now. His only two losses are Calvin Kattar and Josh Emmett,
which is stiff competition.
Okay,
that's stiff.
What's his record? Over Makwan Amirkhani,
what's his record?
And that's about it.
David, what's his record?
13-2. But in the UFC, he got to the UFC 8-0. So I guess he's like 5-2.
Yeah, that's a respectable record. 7 fights in the UFC against a stiff competition in a very difficult division. Not a lot of easy fights at 45. So yeah, that should be an interesting fight, really, any way you slice it. Next up, we've got a few of these to get through. Cub Swanson versus Giga Jikatsi.
Interesting.
Yeah. Both of these guys, not necessarily.
You think Giga? Sorry, my bad. I was gonna say you think Giga would get that one though, right?
You'd think so. It's just, who knows? Cub Swanson, a black belt in jiu-jitsu, pretty good at switching stances, and Giga, not exactly a power hitter. So Giga's going to have to mind his P's and Q's about getting taken down in this one for sure, especially when stance switches are mixed with takedowns. I tend to think, based on their trajectories, Giga's probably got this, but it'll be fun. Thoughts on that one, guys?
I don't want to be, too negative about Giga, but ever since like he hyped himself up going in as the Giga Bomb, I feel like he just hasn't delivered so far. This would be a big win. I actually agree with you. I think he's got a clear, in my opinion, stand-up advantage. But yeah, if it goes to the ground, I'm not sure we've really seen his jiu-jitsu game in the UFC so far.
No, we really haven't. Yeah.
We'll see. But it might be a case of, the wily veteran steals it, but I don't know. Giga he's a really established kickboxer, right? I'm pretty sure he's coming up.
Oh yeah. Fought in Glory.
Yeah, exactly. So he should have the stand-up advantage in this one, I would think.
Yeah, fairly comfortably. There's always that phenomenon where sometimes you're not able to let your shots go under threat of a takedown. So who's to say? Another little non-fight announcements related piece of. Hold on. Brendan Allen versus Carl Robertson. Fun.
You know what? After Carl Robertson came in like Jabba the Hutt and missed weight by 7 pounds twice over, I don't want to hear about another fight with him.
You can't use that anymore. Now that dude, I can't remember who it was, in the last card, missed weight by 2 weight classes. You can't use that for BBK anymore.
Missed 45 and 55, I believe.
Dog, that's crazy. That is crazy. Do you guys see why I get upset?
Well, Mike, this is an aberration.
Come on, guy. The whole point is anyway. I'm not gonna get into it, but the whole point is that is why don't you call? Why did you just say I can't do this? It was so embarrassing.
Okay, so a couple more announcements to make. Moving on. We discussed Shevchenko and Andrade last week. Next we have. Did we talk about Figueiredo Moreno too last week? Or
I think we did.
We did. Okay, yeah, banger, nonetheless. Wei Li Zhang versus Rose Namajunas.
Yes, I was surprised we didn't talk about this one last week. This is gonna be a banger.
Yeah. I guess we looked over it. Yeah, that is a banger of a fight. To be clear, yeah. I'm going to. What's that?
Who you got? Just off instant feel right now. Gut feel.
Wei Li.
You think Wei Li?
You think?
I think Wei Li.
So?
I think so too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Rose because I love her command of range, and I think she can give Wei Li Zhang a lot of trouble bouncing in and out of range. But Wei Li has been training a lot with Sanchai lately, and I think what we've come to expect from Wei Li is the unexpected, and that every fight she's just going to be a new product, something completely different. So I'm gonna go with Rose, but it's tentative. I'm not confident in that prediction.
But you know my problem with Wei Li is like Rose doesn't have the best chin though, guys. Like let's be honest, right?
Wait, according to who and what fight?
Well,
don't say the Andrade fight because that would have knocked out all of us combined.
No. The third round, she gets hit with a shot and is like on her bicycle the entire time, right?
Yeah, she couldn't see.
Really?
Yeah, she couldn't see.
That's your thing. She couldn't see.
What is it my thing or is that what happened in the fight?
Come on. She doesn't have the best chin. Like I can't believe this is a discussion.
Mike, she hasn't. When has she been finished by strikes?
Yeah, she's never been finished by strikes, Mike.
Wow, right? This has been another exciting episode of Michael.
But I think
she always, guys, every fight she's in, she gets hit with a stiff shot and she's on her bicycle. Like why?
Give me another example.
Right, Joanna,
where? Which part in the Joanna fight did you get hit with a stiff?
I have to rewatch that one, Mike. I can't remember her getting like
fourth round, guys, in that fourth round. She gets hit. It wasn't even a rock shot. She just gets hit with a straight, and she's like, yeah, in the rematch.
I don't think you can say someone has a bad chin if they've never been finished.
I didn't say she has a bad chin though.
She has a suspect chin.
She has a suspect chin.
Really,
that's what I said. I didn't say she had a bad chin.
So who you got?
I think Wei Li's gonna win it because she has the speed advantage, and I think for every one that Eunis gives, she's gonna receive 3 back.
Give me 1 second. I've got a visitor.
No problem. I think every one that she gives out, she's gonna receive 3 back, and I think that's gonna wear her down. And if her chin is solid, then it might go to the cards. But I think even when it goes to the cards, I still think that the judges are going to favor the fact that Wei Li's volume is
so much abuse.
Is so astronomical.
But the problem with Wei Li though is at least with the Joanna fight, what was kind of interesting was Joanna.
Hey, Mike, a really quick question. Yeah, then you can continue. What was Eunis's last fight again? I forget.
Andrade, she won by decision.
Andrade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a rematch after she had lost by a knockout.
I'm sorry,
I'm stating KO slam.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were talking about.
No, I just think that what was interesting with that Joanna versus Wei Li fight was there was moments where Joanna was able to keep Wei Li at bay. You know, and Rose is the queen of keeping people at bay. Like she's got a fantastic jab and she's got great movement.
Yeah.
So
the main thing here is the power disadvantage for me. Unlike Jessica Andrade, who, with all due respect, doesn't have limited. And I won't say Wei Li Zhang has the most sophisticated stand-up game, but what she showed at least is she can bang with the best women strikers.
And put a golf
the best
ball
strikers there are in like the female divisions by striking with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, whose name kills me. But let's not forget, Joanna is like a multiple time Muay Thai kickboxing champion. So the fact Weili Zhang is in there going blow for blow, and she's what 8-0 or something like that. I think people are not giving her enough credit for that.
No, I know it's true.
I think she showed that she has enough, like, you know.
Do you know what's funny? I feel like sometimes Mike has a bad take and then just refuses to back off of it when he's on air. Okay. Not because he doesn't know he's wrong, but just because he's like, well, I can't lose face.
No, I mean,
no, that is Mike.
This guy, an interesting point.
That's Michael.
I got to roast Mike on air. Hold on, Mike needs to be roasted.
No. Hold on. Before you do anything, fine. Go find me a fight where she's displayed a great chin. Go ahead.
Yeah, the Joanna fight where it went 5 rounds.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
How about her last? Hold on, Mike. How about her last performance? Hold on. How about her last performance against Andrade, where she was taking shots from someone that used to fight at 135 and reliably? Hold on, Mike. Hold on. Wait. Reliably knocked people out.
Hit her until the 3rd round, and the second she did hit her in the 3rd round, all of a sudden she can't see Agbaire. She's doing this the entire time.
Yeah, not seeing out of your eye, not being able to see out of your eye, and not having a chin are 2 very different things, my friend. Absolutely. You can poke anyone in the eye, and they won't be able to see. It's not a reflection of how good their chin is. I'm saying this as I'm fiddling with my microphone the whole damn time.
Yeah.
Sorry. I knocked it over.
She got rocked.
Getting rocked is not an indication of having a bad chin either. The best fighters in the world.
She got rocked. What are we talking about? She didn't get
no, wait, but I think
she didn't get knocked down, Mike. She didn't get knocked down.
I thought this was a preview show. I thought this was a preview.
Rose has a bad chin is disingenuous.
We're doing this now.
Hold on. Let me tell you about how an example of how Mike is sometimes wrong and won't back off of it. I want you to bring up a world map right now, and I want you to look up Sierra Leone. Yesterday,
no, I didn't.
Hold on. Yesterday, I'm like, Mike, no. You're gonna let me finish this. Yesterday, I'm like, hey, Mike, my girlfriend brought up that her dad used to be a doctor in Sierra Leone, and I'm like, hey, Mike, where's Sierra Leone in Africa? I was just curious, being that Mike is from Africa and has been there before and might have a good grasp of the geography. And Mike, hold on, his ethnicity, and Mike's like, oh, yeah, with full confidence.
I did not say it with full confidence. I said,
yes, you did. Yes, you did. Mike.
No, I didn't. I said, was it
full confidence? Yeah, Sierra Leone. That's in East Africa, over by Sudan.
I said, I think.
Did you say? No, you didn't. I look at a map. I'm like, Mike, it's west of Ghana. He's like, no, it's not.
I was like, damn, really? No, I said,
no,
damn.
You were like, no, it's not.
And then, yeah, right, because this is what Stefano does. He exaggerates the story.
That's not exaggerated. That is word for word story.
Michael, you should know where Sierra Leone is.
I didn't. No, for the record,
that story was so tangential and boring.
Listen, Mike. Do you know what comes from Sierra Leone?
Can we move on and talk about some fights?
And you know what? You want to know something about diamonds, Mike? Diamonds are forever. They won't leave in the night. Have no fear that they might.
Remember the history of Sierra Leone.
Cert me.
And why we had to create a Sierra Leone. Anyway,
good people of the Late Kick podcast, you've put up with my singing and Mike's bad takes long enough. Let's get into 2 more pieces of Mike's so pissed. Mike's gonna want to spar after the podcast. Okay, 2 more pieces of news, good people. Non-fight announcement related. Number 1, and I know we're gonna spend. Hold on.
Are you gonna introduce a segment and then just be like, hold on?
My dog just got neutered.
Crazy hours.
Anyway, so
is this how Fridays are usually like?
Nah.
Chaos. No, Khamzat Chimaev retires reportedly. He's had a very bad case of COVID. There are clips of him that surfaced of him coughing up blood, and he released a statement on social media saying that he's calling it a career and that he's not able to, unfortunately, get back to his previous self. People have speculated that, and Dana White released a statement, no, he's not retiring. He's on prednisone, which is a terrible steroid that affects people's mind, can make rash decisions. Everyone's favorite dictator, Ramzan Kadyrov, came off and said, he will not retire. It does not matter if you are not strong right now. The strength of the Russian people will lift you up to greatness.
Wait, is that what you said? Verbatim?
Verbatim. And it's like, okay, Ramzan, go have fun doing your little genocide over there, you scumbag.
Wait, I thought you were doing like a racist caricature. Wait, that was real?
That's literally what Ramzan Kadyrov said.
And I bet he said it in that kind of accent too.
Well, he's Chechen, yeah. So, anyways, thoughts on this, gentlemen? Thoughts on his potential retirement?
I do think as much as sorry.
I hope it's not true.
I think as much as Dana White did come up a little dismissive, I think he is kind of right in this situation where it's like he's emotional, he's sick, very sick, and just give him time. What I don't like is the idea that he's got to fight in June or something like that. I heard rumors that they're trying to get him to fight in June, which is crazy. Crazy, no?
The thing is that he's been out for like quite a while. When was his last fight? It's got to be like almost 6 months now.
Yeah.
Like last year, definitely.
But was it when Cody Garbrandt had COVID? Cody Garbrandt was out for like 8 months because he kept beating his body up. Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like it seems like it's been affecting people differently. I actually watched like snippets of the Kevin Holland, Joe Rogan podcast, and Kevin Holland was saying he had COVID and didn't bother him, and his family had COVID and blah blah blah. So he had a different opinion about it, and he seems to think that Chimaev is kind of playing victim here, but it just goes to show if it affects everyone differently. And
well, I'm not going to take any reports from his competition that's too seriously like that, but I do think, in a sense, I really think that who knows how drastically it's affecting him. It affects people very differently. Some people there's lasting neurological and lung damage. Some people seem to be asymptomatic. Some people it's just a mild flu, and ranging anywhere in between. So who knows? We're not immunologists, but we obviously wish him the best and really hope he is able to come back.
I just want to say one more thing on this. I don't know. I've never heard of anything like a flu or like a sickness of any kind shaking somebody's confidence, but you see it all the time with like knee injuries or maybe some kind of mental thing that happens. Guy that can shake somebody's confidence to the point where they feel like they don't have that it anymore, or that it factor to be successful. You see it a lot of times, and sometimes it could just be one little thing. Like I've never seen anything with like a flu of any kind, but like sometimes something as little as shoulder surgery can make a pitcher want to give up the game, or like a knee injury could make a running back not want to play the game anymore. So I don't know, like it could be one of those issues, and maybe he just needs to maybe get back in the gym or something and find that. But
I think that's the issue. He did get back in the gym and was just hacking blood. Yeah. But
see, that could also be it too. Like he could have got back in the gym, and after being away for so long or just feeling sick, he's like, man, I suck at this.
No, this is the
I feel
problem.
like that. That's me every Monday.
No, this is the problem. He's not resting.
I don't know why I found that so funny.
Right? He's not resting. Like that's just it. Like why? If you just chill out, like why does he keep going to the gym?
Michael, aren't you guys the same fighters who say it's the fighter mentality? You have to put your body second. It's all about achieving your goal. You push your body to the extremes. And then when somebody does it, we're all like, why are you going to the gym?
No,
like, what are we talking about?
That's not for, if I have let's say an illness, I'm not going to go into the gym and keep pushing my body past the point. Like that's not how it works. The point is
it's not like a broken bone or like an injury or like an ACL tear or what's the difference? It's
inadvisable, obviously, but you really get the feeling that the UFC is going to be putting their best men behind this and best women. Really the best that the medical field can offer, because Khamzat has really, he's a cash cow. People love him.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on, two big releases from the UFC that, kind of shook me in a certain kind of way, because both of them were very towering figures in their own right in the heavyweight division. One a champion in many other organizations that you could argue mattered more than the UFC, had a lot of points in history. Junior Dos Santos, released from the UFC after a really long tenure, champion, a championship that lasted a couple title defenses, beating Cain Velasquez, and Alistair Overeem, the last Pride veteran to fight in UFC. Sorry.
You are so distracted by your dog.
Yeah, he can't even bark right now, and he's just did some parkour off the couch. He just got neutered. The last Pride veteran in the UFC let go after his last loss to Volkov. Those people who said Pride never die, well, guys, I'm sorry, Pride has officially just died. I don't know if you guys have the same sentimental attachment to either of these fighters, but how you feeling?
Definitely, man. These are two legends. I mean, they've kind of defined the heavyweight division, I would say, for at least the last 10 years. So especially Overeem, like I remember watching Overeem like in like the mid 2000s, and they were like, "Oh, look at this young 18-year-old Dutch kickboxer is gonna come to the UFC, is gonna change the game, blah blah blah." So man, we've lost some legends. Not that they're dead or anything. I'm sure they'll still be in and around gyms, giving younger fighters their knowledge, and we'll see them in corners and stuff like that. So
maybe even fighting outside of the UFC.
Pardon? Maybe, but it could also be. I mean, doesn't Junior just sign? I can't remember his. Is he an AKA?
No, he's a Team Nogueira guy.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. I don't know, but I would suspect we will be seeing them in Bellator and UFC, just cornering different guys. And yeah, honestly, it's probably at the right time because we are at probably the most exciting period in heavyweight since these guys first joined.
We're young,
yeah, so like, you know,
the interesting thing about Overeem though was, you know, as much as we wanted Overeem to retire, he really, besides the Volkov loss, he was kind of
competitive.
He
was really competitive still.
That's why I'm surprised.
Go back to the Jairzinho Rosenstruik fight. Like, he was winning. I know we say that every time, probably every podcast at this point, but he was winning that fight.
He was 4 seconds away from winning the fight. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, he's still a competitive fighter, but it's probably better that he goes out like this. You know, not off a win, but not off a string of 4 or 5 losses or something like that. Like nobody.
Like JDS has gone through. You know, which is interesting because JDS
had like a little resurgence, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just pull up his record.
He beat Derek Lewis and then was competitive for like it. He was competitive, lost the blades in a really weird one where he just couldn't get going. Then he loses to Rosenstruik where I thought he looked really, really good. And then he had that loss to Gon where Gon just shut him down. And Gon does that to everybody. Good luck, right? And the thing about that one was I could see it coming because Junior Dos Santos got really mad about that elbow. Remember? He gets really, really mad about the elbow.
And was stung with a jab before that.
Yeah. And I was like, he's mad because he knows that loss means he's cut. I remember saying that.
Yeah. And I think the problem is as well, like both of them, Junior to a much lesser extent, but with Overeem, we saw that he really has the skills to get it done. And, you know, was making adaptations based on his, the fragility of his chin, especially at heavyweight, and was continually advancing. Junior less so. It seemed like guys had kind of figured him out, and he was a little bit more of a one-trick pony. But, Overeem in a lot of ways was still able to get it done. Even had his moments in that Volkov fight. But, yeah, it's sad. The game's just passed both of them by in a lot of ways physically, and we're at a time where heavyweight's actually exciting, and the old guard has kind of rode off into the sunset. But, from a physical standpoint, I worry about these two, obviously, with the amount of damage they've taken. We've talked about it endlessly on this podcast, but,
Do you guys think both of them are going to fight again?
Probably.
I would, if I had to bet, I'd say more likely JDS fights again. Then
I was gonna say just because we're talking about oh my god, I just poked myself in the eye. Talking about JDS's record since 2018, since his loss to Stipe Miocic in 2017, he has 3 wins, 4 losses. His 3 wins are over Blagoy Ivanov, Taitu Ivasa and Derek Lewis, all respectable, I would say. And losses against Francis Ngannou, Blades, Rosenstruik, and Gani. So, I mean, those are all tough fights. Maybe he's not winning the ones he used to, but there's an argument to say why he should keep fighting, at least at some level. Maybe not at the UFC at the top level. But
you could say that about both of them, but at the same time, both of them are like 39, 38. Like, I can't remember exactly, but they're in their late 30s.
Yeah.
So, right?
ADS is 37.
Yeah, and Overeem, yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, and Overeem, I believe, is 40, actually. He might be 40. So
yeah, Overeem is slightly older.
And new Bellator heavyweight champion.
I feel like 37, in your late 30s, you could, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not a brain expert, so I shouldn't be saying we don't know how much damage these men have faced. But
well, you guys want to move on? We still got a whole card to cover.
Yes,
oh,
please.
Jesus, yeah.
The enormity of our task just set in for Mike. Anyways, so that is the news. And now let's get into the card. That is. So, in our main event.
What a
Dude,
segment.
I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this card without getting a heart attack. This card is
stacked.
Yeah.
In our main event, we have Israel Adesanya undefeated going up to face the unlikely light heavyweight champion John Blachowicz for the light heavyweight title in his first defense. Weighing in under the 205 pound limit.
I love it.
Yeah. This is intriguing.
Hey, how much did Izzy weigh in today?
202,
200
pounds.
200 pounds.
Wow.
Old school heavyweight.
Yo,
I don't like this. I still don't like this fight. I get why he's doing it, but I still hate this fight. I just wish it wasn't happening. But I
actually do like
the
idea.
I think the whole champ thing is just it's just a play on the sport, in my opinion. And I think, Yan just won it. It would be different if he was going up against like John Jones and it was a true like
rivalry,
you know what I mean? But now you're just like, and I get it and get those checks and whatever. But for me, it doesn't feel right for me personally.
Does it not feel right because it's a foregone conclusion?
It's not a foregone conclusion. It just seems like even if you win, okay, so you beat Jan Blachowicz and now John Jones.
That's the worst anyone's ever pronounced his name.
Blachowicz. Jan Blachowicz. But if he loses, he's now got he's lost that 20-0 record. He's now 20-1 for what? I don't know.
Well, Jan Blachowicz is a very, very tough fighter to beat. Like, he's very, very tough because he doesn't really give you a lot of openings, especially if you decide to switch in southpaw like Izzy does.
Wait,
right?
Sorry, he doesn't give you a lot of openings?
Right? He doesn't.
Blachowicz doesn't?
No, he doesn't. Right? Because
I respectfully disagree.
Well,
I think he gets hit often when he goes to counter. I think he just kind of on the counter swings a lot of times without a lot of careful thought about what he's more patient, but when he does come forward, he leaves himself open. Absolutely.
Well, I think that especially if guys are in southpaw, like Izzy likes to go to southpaw. He's not a natural southpaw, so I think he's going to go exclusively orthodox, but especially in southpaw, for whatever reason, I don't know why, Jan just kind of doesn't give guys a lot of things to get.
Why would he go exclusively orthodox?
I think that's more based on his last performance with Reyes. You're basing that off of, and I think that's because
and Luke Rockhold.
Yeah, Rockhold looked slow in that fight. I don't know. I don't hate this fight. I think Izzy should win. I think
Blachowicz that Jan is very slow, and
very slow, and he's easy to feint. He reaches for a lot of shots, and Izzy's feinting is masterful. And Jan's going to be reaching for straight punches, and they are not going to be there. He's going to be checking low kicks, and they are not going to be there. And I really see this being a very hard and possibly short night for Jan Blachowicz.
Well, I tend to agree. I'm just saying that like Jan is good with his hand trapping. He's pretty solid defensively sound. David, you're on mute. But
did you say hand trapping?
Yeah, he traps.
Do you not know what hand trapping is?
No, I do know what a hand trapping is. Do you honestly think there's going to be extended like grappling exchanges in this?
No, I'm not saying grappling exchanges, but he can intercept. It's very possible that if Izzy's not in his game with the feinting, he could trap some hands. I'm trying to give Jan, I do think Jan loses this one. Let's be honest. Let's call it a buck, right? And I do like the fact Izzy came in light because that gives him an already massive speed advantage, even more of a speed advantage. I like the fact he came in light. And Jan isn't, while Jan's pretty good on the ground, he's not very good at getting there. So
no, not the best takedown artist. And to be fair, that hasn't really been part of his game recently. I think, does Jan have certain advantages? Probably has a strength advantage, might have a bit of an offensive grappling advantage, but do I think he's going to struggle to maximize those advantages? Absolutely. And I think Israel's advantages are significantly outweigh Jan's advantages, and it is always difficult to corner and to get a hold of Izzy, and Jan seems to be doing better by being patient and fighting on the counter, and I just don't really see that being a great strategy against Israel to hang back and wait. And when Jan does go on offense, he's reckless, just winging.
Well, I do agree that he does tend to look sloppy, but I just don't see especially new Jan Blachowicz, I just don't see this reckless Jan. And look, if Yoel Romero can catch Izzy with just lulling him to sleep, I know Jan's not the fastest guy.
Sorry. Did Yoel Romero catch Izzy?
Once or twice.
Once or twice, every once in a while,
I don't, to be honest, though, Yoel Romero has certain advantages over Izzy that kept Izzy patient. That explosive power, his ability to, cover distance incredibly quickly. He kept Izzy on his toes in a way that I don't think Jan's going to really be able to do against Izzy because he doesn't have those same kind of attributes, right?
No, fair. I'm trying to play Jan advocate, I guess. Devil's advocate.
I definitely think Jan has a puncher's chance. He's got the power advantage, as you said. I just think if it's a game of technique, it's going to be in one direction. I don't see it going to the ground. Just personally, I see this as stand-up, and if Izzy gets sloppy on coming in on Jan, could he get caught with a looping hook? Yeah, probably. But other than that, no disrespect to Jan, I feel like Israel's technical striking is just a little bit better.
Could you imagine if Jan just comes in like Habib style and just mauls?
That'd be hilarious. I thought you were gonna say if he came in like Muay Thai style, just light in that front,
just like this. He brings the Mokan out. He brings the Mokan out, starts blessing the ring.
I mean, if Jan did that?
Yeah, that would be pretty funny if he just comes in and just starts leg kicking Israel Adesanya to the moon.
Leg kicks
just with the sitar in the back.
Leg kicks could be a good part of the plan to cut off Izzy, obviously, and dull his movement. But it's just not something that I've never really seen Jan make a really concerted effort to target the legs. In that way, I don't know.
Look,
are there ways he can win? Yes.
Sorry, what was your question?
Maybe he opened up the body kick though.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Oh no, I was just saying there are ways he can win. I just don't see it happening. I wanted to ask David something because David's a little bit disappointed in this matchup. David, if let's say, I think I know I can put my finger on what it is that bothers you about this fight. Is it that the light heavyweight division hasn't really been given time to breathe?
Yes.
And you'd like to see a couple. I mean, I definitely share that. I share that sentiment because,
Me too. Me too.
You got Ryan Spann, you got Dominic Cruz. You just spent how long has Yan
Dominic Cruz?
Not Dominic Cruz.
He means
Dominic
He's
Reyes.
put on some weight. Dominic Cruz has been putting in.
He's gonna fight on this card.
Can I interject here?
Sure. Go on, Jeremy.
Why can't the light heavyweight division breathe with a guy holding the title and also holding the middleweight title? Why is its inability to breathe with? If let's say if he wins, which I think I'm getting the sense that we all think he will, why will it not still breathe?
Because he's going to nuke the division and take away any legitimacy possible from anyone else in the division. Then it's going to be viewed as a second-tier division. And after he does that, the UFC is going to target a match between him and John Jones.
Wait. Yeah, of course. That's the
at heavyweight.
That's the at heavyweight.
John Jones is moving up to heavyweight. That's correct.
So he's probably going to carry both. He's probably going to carry both belts into that fight at heavyweight. I bet you.
I think what people are worried about is a situation like when Conor McGregor went off to boxing, where he just kept two divisions paralyzed.
Hostage.
But he's already cleared. He's already beat everybody at middleweight. I'm speaking about
everybody.
Let's stop saying cleared because
what about there's still middleweight still has its contenders. And I'm not saying it's the wrong move to go up for Izzy necessarily. I think there's been worse, times for fighters to go up. I just want light heavyweight to get some. It's just recovered from the atom bomb that was John Jones. Let's give it a little bit of air, some water.
Well, the problem. Well, I see Jeremy's point though. If you take a look at that top five, Robert Whittaker beat him. Darren Till lost to Robert Whittaker. Jared Cannonier lost to Robert Whittaker. Jack Hermanson lost to Marvin Vittori. Marvin Vittori lost to Israel Adesanya. Right?
I'm looking at my crystal ball here, and it's
who's the guy? Who's the guy?
He goes up to light heavyweight. He takes on all comers. While he's doing that, you get somebody to make their name in middleweight. He goes down, fights whoever that is. I'm just saying, why is it that they can't breathe because he's going up and down divisions? Now if he goes to heavyweight, I can see your point there. But if he's going between these two divisions, what's the problem? And I think John Jones
do that. The problem is he's not going to do. The only fighter I would say that I can even remember, the only champ to actually defend is Amanda Nunes.
And one of those divisions is make believe. The other one she already cleared out.
So this isn't going to happen. They're going to make him relinquish one of them at least. And as you said, man, I don't know. The whole thing for me is you spent how many Glover Teixeira versus Anthony Smith main events are you going to make us watch pretending like they have title implications if all you're going to do is just bring a fighter from another division to nuke the entire thing? You know what I mean? How many?
I think
I see your.
Well, point. I don't hate. Sorry, Mike. Go on. I interrupted you.
No, I was just saying I see his point, and I don't hate the matchup because look, from Izzy's perspective, I get it. He really wanted Darren Till, okay, but Darren Till lost to Robert Whittaker, right? And Darren Till seems like the reasonable matchup. So what do? You move, right? And from Jan's perspective, they're throwing a bag at you. I don't mind it. It's just.
I don't begrudge Izzy or Jan for taking the fight. I just wish we could return a little bit to the days where number one contenderships meant something, and even if a fight wasn't the most exciting thing to make in the world, we still made it because the person deserved it. Yeah, I'm thinking back to days where Jake Shields and John Fitch got fights, right? And talks of Anderson Silva versus GSP, which never panned out. It was that exciting. It meant something, and it was that exciting, dream matchup that everyone sought after. But we would only get it after the division was truly cleaned out, And I miss those days, and I miss the days where I don't like it now where every time anybody wins a championship, they're automatically in GOAT discussion, and now they're automatically trying to claim two belts at once. Let's settle down. Let's settle down a little.
No, I agree. It's just in this instance, I don't mind it.
Henry Cejudo. Sorry, you got Henry Cejudo, who gets a marginal decision over Mighty Mouse.
I'll be honest. I thought Mighty Mouse won. I'll be honest.
Exactly. I thought Mighty Mouse won, but whatever.
At the time, I did too. I would have to rewatch it, but it was
Gets
close.
a first-round knockout over T.J. Dillashaw, if I'm not mistaken, if my timeline's correct.
Yep.
And then moves up to fight for the championship in another division. Like, are you kidding me? That's in 3 fights. He's won. Like, come on, man. Like something.
No, I agree. David,
or Conor McGregor, who started it all, winning the belt and then moving up immediately, not having to defend it. It's you can chase money, and in the short term, these things work, but it takes away from a little bit of legitimacy.
Do you guys think it's because of WME and their financial situation that they're just like, all right, let's just put on fights and not understanding why those fights matter? Like there was a couple times they could have did Anderson Silva versus GSP, specifically when Anderson Silva was moving up to light heavyweight, and they didn't do it because the divisions mattered.
This is a long discussion, maybe for the full podcast, but I just think like they're moving from the model of 1 or 2 superstars to let's just get all the stars we can and just let them smack them together and make the biggest fights possible. They don't really care about the legitimacy of the divisions or, the order or the rankings. They don't care about that. They just want the biggest fights possible and make them possible.
Speaking of big fights, Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson in our co-main event. Well, a make-believe division and a fight that doesn't necessarily need to happen. Megan Anderson seemingly having, it's not her fault that she's in a division that basically doesn't exist. It's more the UFC's fault for creating it. And it's the Amanda Nunes show. And they're struggling to find contenders. Up steps Megan Anderson. They bring in a couple of tailor-made opponents for her to beat. She loses to one of them, and now finally put 2 wins together. And guys, help me out here.
Not much to say.
Did I err?
All I will say is, like, did you guys watch like the during the Curtis Blades card? They showed a preview for Megan Anderson's fight, and they were doing an interview with her. She has a super, super sad story. She was in the army, so she's a tough lady. It's just, as you said, it's a shame that she's up against a generational fighter. What's
her sad story? What happened to her other than being? Because you didn't really go into it. You're like, she has a sad story.
I don't want to miss like. I don't want to say it wrong.
I expected some Forrest Gumpish story where she carried Bubba into out of the jungles of Vietnam or something. You're just like, she was in the army, and that's about it.
All right, say what you remember, and if it's wrong, we'll just like kind of put a mea culpa.
Yeah, you can't leave the audience hanging, David.
Okay, I think it was that she was bullied in the army, and she had like a problem with authority, if I'm not mistaken, to the point where she was being like and if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry if I get it wrong, but they put her like in solitary confinement a lot of the time. She was always, she was just like one of those people who was not a good fit for the army.
Well, poor lady. Yeah.
I hate to say though, she's still gonna lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I think this matchup, she's pretty outgunned on the feet. On the ground, there's no safe haven for there either, because Amanda Nunes has proven that, especially when she brings the fight to the ground via way of knockdown, she's ruthless on jumping on people's back. And, the Rain to Red fight, as flawed as a performance as that was, she showed that under duress or exhaustion, she can pull the fight into the ground.
I think Megan has a chance on the feet, though. Long. She can really frustrate her.
I think the fight's going to last longer than people think, because I was talking about this with Mike off air yesterday. It's difficult to get to the head of a taller opponent in the early rounds, especially if they're not coming to you and they're hanging back a little bit, fighting behind straight shots. So I think probably what Amanda will do, and she has a thunderous leg kick, I think it would behoove her to take a bit more of a patient approach and beat the legs up and then work her way up top to the head with that powerful overhand. And then the counters, once Megan's a little more static, the counters over top of the jab will find their mark.
I just can't find, just looking at there's 2 fighting style, sorry Megan, but Amanda Nunes has the better chances in this one. But
You
that's not to say that she doesn't have a chance. And I just wanted to correct my story. Sorry. So it says here on Wikipedia with two sources, so we'll go with that. After serving 2.5 years in the military, Megan was discharged when it was discovered she had attempted to take her own life and was
Jesus.
subsequently
Oh my God.
hospitalized. Probably as a result of that bullying I was talking about. So yeah, mad. Shout out to
Oh,
her.
God,
You
that's
know,
terrible.
you see a lot of these fighters, you don't really know the backstory, and people like to make jokes like, "Oh yeah, it's easy to be a top fighter or a top women fighter," but it takes a special kind of woman to fight. You know what I mean?
Look, I wouldn't say it's easy. Even if in certain divisions the level of talent's a little bit lower, I think it definitely requires a lot of guts and bravery. And as much as I like to make, light of the
Dude,
talent
every
of some
single
of the
person at
divisions,
UFC, yeah. Every single
And-
person at UFC has heart, and it takes. And I'm the one who trashes people. Like this is me talking. It takes a special kind of someone to go in there, and they lock the cage and they say fight for 15, right? It's just in relative. What are we talking about here?
and you know,
Yeah, Megan Anderson. You're a commendable, beautiful lady, and I salute you more for getting through attempted suicide more so than being a elite athlete. But yeah, I got Amanda Nunes. And when is Kayla Harrison gonna make her move to the UFC?
she's not. She's a 55er, and the UFC doesn't have a 55s women's division.
Ah,
But I think there's interesting matchups to be made within her organization that she's in, the PFL, like Clarissa Shields. But I think. Hold on one second.
Clarissa, I know this is gonna probably be put out after the fight tonight at 9 p.m. But if you guys aren't doing anything, Clarissa Shields is fighting tonight at 9.
I'd love to check that out.
Against a Canadian, actually.
Oh, Eva Marie.
Yeah.
Or Eva. Yeah.
No, Marie Eve Decaire from Montreal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just want to say that she's under a very good team, James Krause's team, who James the Cup Krause, excellent fighter and excellent coach in his own right. Just finished his instructional DVD. But I think Megan Anderson has kind of done a bit of a disservice by the fact that there isn't really a 45 division in the UFC right now. So they're trying to get contenders to Nunes ASAP. And under normal circumstances, she might be able to grow within the UFC and have her like 4 or 5, 6 fights before she worked her way to a title. But, that's just not the case.
Well, I think this
Jones.
is the UFC's. Sorry, no, I was just gonna say I do really think though this is the UFC's attempting off the featherweight division and just saying, okay, we failed at this experiment. Amanda Nunes, kill it off, and then wipe their hands.
Yeah, if Nunes retires, the featherweight division is done.
Yeah.
You want to talk about this any further, or should we make our way next to the people's main event?
This one's
the people's main. There is such. I have my suspicions over who's going to win, but there is such a question mark over this fight for me. Mm-hmm. And the bantamweight division is one of the most interesting divisions in all of MMA right now, rivaling 155. We've got Peter Yan, the absolute marauder from Omsk, Russia, against Aljamain Sterling, who has put together a nice win streak in a very difficult division, rebounding off of some nasty losses and coming back and really reinventing himself as this kind of outfighter sniper with funky head movement and stance switching and a lot of kicks and just a smothering, suffocating grappler. David, I know you're big on the Aljo train.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it might just be like my perception of his fight style. For some reason, I don't think it really like sunken in that he's really more of a grappling focused fighter than a striker, I would say. And even like Petr Yan, I went back and watched his fight against Jose Aldo before this, and in my mind, it was way more one-sided than it actually was.
No, Aldo had some. Aldo
won rounds.
Yeah, I thought he took a couple rounds, 2, maybe 3. I don't know. Like he was in there.
for me, that's what made it even more impressive, that this wasn't, a late stage Aldo. This was a game competitor. I thought Aldo had his moments. I thought he had a lot of it. He brought back the leg kicks. He had slick counter combinations, and Jan was able to defeat a very, very dangerous Jose Aldo down at 35.
Yeah, so I mean, he definitely has skills. I'm just really quickly pulling up his record. I'm sorry, I should have done that while you were talking.
While you pull it
what's
up,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say a couple of things I find very, very, very interesting about Peter Yan's style. A lot of his approach seems to be, and this is what a lot of people have to say about him, that he's very boxing based and switches stances mid combination, Lomachenko like almost, right? Where he'll switch stances to cover distance and cut people off. And if you're a good stance switcher, you can, like I said, cover a lot of distance and also cut the cage really well on people. Because if you think about it, if I'm an orthodox fighter and I try and take a step to my right to cut someone off, I'm not going to be able to cover as much ground as if I switch into southpaw, and then that opens up the open side ankle as well. Very good straight hitter, patience in the early rounds, not much of a kicker, but one part of his game that's really, really underrated is that while a lot of his footwork and has very good boxing, it's boxing centric, not a lot has been made of his the attributes that he's brought over from Muay Thai. The sweeps he uses to throw people off balance and then just punish them. There was one in the Uriah Faber fight where he just, oh my God, just used a trip to get Uriah Faber on his hands and knees and then came out swinging. Like, he is lethal in the clinch, lethal with knees, and he just is an really odd combination of skills I haven't seen before.
He's really good off
all week. It's like, Michael, really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
All week, I was saying Peter Yan because of the facts that Stefano just brought up, the fact that he cuts off the cage and he's always coming forward. When he fought Jose Aldo, always coming forward. But then I thought to myself, what is Aljamain Sterling's conditioning like in the later rounds? Because I feel like if his conditioning is pretty good, I feel like his style of grappling and setting up his grappling with his kicks, I think it could actually go to Aljamain Sterling if his conditioning permits it. I don't know. Do you guys know has he had too many fights that have gone?
Yeah, he's had a few. He's got good conditioning.
He's got good conditioning, but I just think that Peter Yan has this innate ability to just murder you in the later rounds. Like, murder.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he can swim with the Sharks if it gets to the later rounds. There was that little bit of doubt that just literally creeped on me like a few hours ago, where I'm like, Aljamain Sterling could actually pull it off. Maybe
chances are early though.
I rate his chances as well. I agree with you, and I think one of the things that makes his cardio over the late rounds even more impressive is he has a style. Like, think about the Pedro Munoz fight. Was that a 3 or a 5 round fight?
3.
3 round fight.
3 though.
Even still, the output, because Pedro Munoz is not someone you want to stand and trade with. He's got a rock chin. He can withstand more punishment from you, and you can hit harder than you, especially at 35. And Aljo was just moving around the ring, turning him, throwing a long straight down the center or a kick against his arms, and then just turning him and making him miss. Like, Munoz couldn't cut him off. He just kept turning and missing and turning and missing. And Munoz wasn't particularly hurt at any point, but Aljo was just able to keep up that high volume, kick heavy style into the later rounds, which I thought was impressive. The thing about Yan, though, why I might be worried about his conditioning in the later rounds, is I don't think he's run into a cage cutter of the caliber of Peter Yan. Peter Yan is phenomenal at cutting the cage, staying patient early, and one of the things I think he might do is make Aljo take a lap around the cage, or 2 or 3, and patient, even give up the first couple of rounds and let him work himself out, and then start downloading that information and finding him, cutting him off against the cage and working him. Another big question mark for me, though, is can Aljo get it to grappling, and how good is his grappling compared to Yan? Because that's his best shot at victory, I think.
Definitely. I would say grappling
early, though. Sorry, no, go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, I think grappling is definitely the way forward in this one for him. Because, I just think Peter Yan has at least showed that if you put him up against a grappler, he has enough striking to like he has the striking advantage. And I'm just looking at the records also quickly, and Petr Yan has only really faced, with all due respect, 4 guys in the UFC, like 4 like names in John Dodson, Jimmy Rivera, Uriah Faber, who, you know, we can debate whether that was the best kind of Uriah Faber we've ever seen.
Still dangerous, but past it a little bit.
Yeah, and you know, that went 3 rounds. No disrespect to Uriah Faber, but yeah, that went 3 rounds, and then Josie Aldo. So I think this is actually a much closer matchup than people are giving it credit, because Aljamain Sterling's got a equally impressive resume if you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it'll be one of those like stylistic things. I think in the early rounds, I'm with everyone. Petr Yan probably has the power advantage, but in the later rounds, I don't know. I don't know if I would say Sterling has the advantage. Yeah, but
one thing I think Aljo can do to make this in his favor, and it's a good thing to do against a pressure fighter if you have a grappling advantage against them. And this is, you know, Yan, as we saw in the Faber fight, it could be a dangerous thing to do. Very, very good timing with his knees, and a good eye for, you know, he changed that knee into a kick mid strike. Reactive takedowns, man, for Aljo. If he can punish that forward stance switching movement and maybe switch you know, he's a stance switcher himself. And get to
so tough,
get in on a single leg, maybe. It's tough, but you need to.
He's so fluid with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to know when he's going for the shot. It's tough to know when he's going for the switch. It's tough to know. There was one point I was watching the Aldo fight. He's punching, literally just like tapping your thigh and tapping your knee just to get you thinking about the shot. So Petr Yan is tricky, and you know, Aljamain would do well to kind of pay attention to those tricks. But I was also going to say, like, Aljamain probably could throw some leg kicks, because, as you mentioned, Petr Yan's more of a boxing-heavy fighter. And in watching the Aldo fight, it was almost like in that second round, his corner told him, like, you should kick the legs more, because, like, that seemed to be just the way Yan stands and, like, waits for the person to do something. Although, you know, he applies pressure, but he's kind of not leading the dance like that, like just throwing shots for the sake of throwing.
But that's why I feel like Aljo has it early, if anything. Like I get it, you know, maybe he can wear him out with the grappling, but I think Yan is just naturally a slow starter. I don't know if it's the Muay Thai thing. I don't know what it is, but I think Yan is actually better as the fight wears on. And yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I cut you off. Go on.
Okay. No, I was just saying, I think that it actually be Aljo to get Yan when he's cold. You know?
I agree, and I think it's all about who can disincentivize the other person's comfort zone, right? If Yan starts to deny Aljo the takedowns, and that's going to work very, very well in his favor. If Aljo can steal large portions of this fight on the ground, even if he doesn't finish Yan early, that's going to be, and I think generally Yan being a slow starter, I don't necessarily think it's a negative attribute, because it's not like people can, you know, cold cock him early from what we've seen. It's just that he downloads the information and then has a read on you in the late fifth round, fourth round, and he's just picking you apart. But if Aljo can steal large portions of this fight on the ground and in grappling range, he's just taking away time for Yan to download him.
Think about it.
Yeah, and really get a read on him.
What if maybe he takes him down all fight long, and then in the fourth, fifth round, Yan is just like, man, I can't do this anymore, and then he gets the finish, the submission. I could see that happening, which is why I said in the later rounds Aljo might win, or Aljamain Sterling might win.
Maybe that's a likely scenario as well. What makes this so interesting is that everything we've just said, there's so many question marks. They're so evenly matched. It's at the perfect place in their career, and I could see any of those potential scenarios playing out.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah. My heart says Aljo, but my mind is thinking Yan.
I'm leaning slightly towards Yan, but I would not be surprised in either direction.
Yeah, I got Yan too.
Yeah.
So next we have a matchup between Khabib's best friend, Islam Makhachev, taking on Drew Dober. Fun fight.
Yeah.
Makhachev, similar to Khabib, uses a little bit more movement, better kicker, plays the outside very well. Much more of a specialist in taking people down out in the open as opposed to applying the grind cycle up against the cage. And Drew Dober on a bit of a streak right now, aggressive Muay Thai fighter. And I just don't think that lines up well with someone with the takedown ability of Makhachev.
Money's on Makhachev. No disrespect to Drew Dober, but I feel like Islam Makhachev has done well, has already shown like he's like in that different tier, no disrespect, but that different tier of fighters in terms of like skill set right now. So it's gonna take like someone really special. No disrespect, but Makhachev should already be fighting like Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, all of these dudes. I don't get why he's still having to prove himself. Maybe inactivity, but yeah.
I'm with you on that one as well. His only loss was to, I believe it was to, Adriano Martins. Yeah, who is no slouch but has been kind of inactive. By first round KO. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think Islam Makhachev is a dark horse in this division, much in the way that Dariush or Diego Ferreira are, and I like him fighting for the belt soon, and hopefully on a big card like this. Not to overlook Drew Dober too much, but hopefully this is a big coming out party for Makhachev where he gets introduced.
But I'm pretty sure Drew Dober is really good at blitzing guys. Like
which is
that's
bad
kind
against
of
the grappler of Makhachev.
I know, but like, it gives him a chance. Like if he's violent with Islam, you never know.
You never know.
Michael, what can it take is if he's violent?
No, like,
Michael.
Let me explain. Let me explain, right? If Drew Dober can really just again cold cock him, right?
If anyone can cold cock anyone else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I got it.
It's not so much a path to victory as a hope and a prayer, but who knows?
Yeah, the one thing I would say is that I'm just looking at Islam Makhachev's record, and his last fight was September 7th, 2019. That's almost like 2 years out, or at least like 18 months. So, he seems to
be rusty.
Yeah, not like rusty, but like he's had like breaks in between fights before. It just like since 2015, he's had like what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights. There are fighters who are having 6 fights, 5 fights in a year, and that's not to say he should be having that many, but it'll be interesting to see whether I'm pretty sure he's gonna win, but that's just the one thing. Maybe that's why he hasn't been fighting the top of the division yet. Is he's not as active.
But Drew Dober's got pretty good overhand. Drew Dober's got pretty solid overhand. I don't know. Maybe.
Overhand is not a great weapon against a wrestler. That is a great weapon to be shot.
Guys.
Mike, what next? What are you going to say next? You know what? Drew Dober is really good at squaring up against his hips when he throws. Like, Mike, are you giving? Anyways.
I really like the way he clenches his fist. Like when he throws, he really clenches his fist nice.
I like the way he spends long portions of the fight in guard against a wrestler on his back. So finally, the curtain jerker on this card, and then
he does not do that though.
Anyways, the curtain jerker on this card, and this will be the last one before we head out, unless you want to touch on some of the prelims very briefly. We've got Dominic Cruz, Casey Kenny. That's a fun fight. Song Yadong against Howard Phillips.
As much as I want to talk about that.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up. So finally, we'll just quickly touch on Santos versus Rakic. Big boys banging, anyone?
Yep, big boys banging. Let's go.
I really like Alexander Rakic. So
why don't you marry him, Mike?
Yeah.
But Santos could also. It's just gonna be bangers. Bangers gonna bang, and we're gonna see who the hardest banger is.
Pretty much.
Something tells me Santos hits a little bit harder, but Rakic is a little bit more technical. We'll see.
Yeah, they're both gonna raise their chins straight up in the air, square their stance up, and throw bombs like they're fighting for the last gas station hot dog at a 7-Eleven.
This card is stacked.
It's stacked.
Kenny, Dominic Cruz,
this is exciting.
Song Yadong, Benavidez is fighting on this card. You got Tim Elliott, Kai Kara France, my boy who I don't know his name, Kennedy.
Nchukwi? Nchukwi. It's pronounced Nchukwi.
Nchukwi.
Wow. Damn.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
He lied.
And he's going to get destroyed by Carlos Alberg, who is the training partner of Israel Adesanya. Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in. We are the Thick Leg Podcast.
Hey, real quick, when is that Weili Namajunas fight?
I think it's in April.
All right, thank you.
So, guys, we are the Thick Leg Podcast. If you like what we do, send a bag of feces in the mail to Mike or drop it off at his door and light it on fire in a paper bag, Happy Gilmore style. Jeremy's over here throwing up gang signs.
That's the wrong movie. That's the wrong movie. It was Billy Madison, fam.
Yeah, that's what I said, the water boy. Anyways, Jeremy's over here throwing up gang signs, like we're at Jane and Finch or something, which occasionally we are. Anyways, we're the Leg Kick Podcast. Send a like, physically assault that like button. Subscribe. You can find us where podcasts are found anywhere. Google Play. Not Google Play, that doesn't exist anymore. Podcast Addict, Podcast App, Spotify, YouTube. I don't know.
Podcasts.
Google Podcasts. We're
Apple Podcasts.
Listen, we're doing the damn thing for you twice a week. You know, we're doing for you what your ex-wife did not. Doing the damn thing twice a week, and we just need a little love in return. So, subscribe, like us, tell a friend about us, and love you guys. Any closing words, gentlemen?
Peace out. Another great
podcast.
All right.
This fight's gonna be good. This card's gonna be good, man. So.
Yeah, and tune in. We will have a recap probably going out on Monday or Sunday. Stay tuned for that, and stay tuned for more exciting news. We'll probably have a story time segment then as well. We don't have a bad take segment for you this week, but much love. Mike,
balls are hot.
Mike, to play us out. What does that mean?
Oh crap! I have to do a thing. In this crazy mixed up world, where Sierra Leone is somewhere, somewhere.
Mike grabs his hat, turns it to the side. Guys, Sierra Leone's in East Africa. That's an Ash Ketchum reference for you guys. Sorry, go on, Mike. I stole your phone.
Okay. Have a great podcast. Yeah, have a great day, everybody.
Peace out.